The reason Foolio got hit up is because when a couple years back they hit up Youngeen Ace and his friends, and Youngeen Ace was the only one to make it out. Ever since then, they started getting each other back, and then they started putting the diss tracks out there, and this is what put Jacksonville on the map of being one of the most dangerous areas, because Foolio and Youngeen Ace crew were running wild back and forth, getting each other and everything like that. And that's what made everybody in Jacksonville scared. It turned it into basically a war zone, and so nobody wanted to come outside because they didn't want to have to get in between and have something happen to them on accident just because of Foolio, Youngeen Ace, the two crews going back and forth at each other. And so ever since that happened, this is when Foolio became a marked man, and so ever since then they knew they was trying to get him back, especially since Youngeen Ace friend 23, the one that they always talk about, he ended up going on his birthday, and that's why they made sure that when they got Foolio, they was gonna do it on the birthday too. It matches up. It's a lot of the time people want to do an eye for an eye. If somebody does something and it's boom, it happened on their birthday, somebody else is gonna come back and do the same thing on the person's birthday too. So that's an eye for an eye. They're trying to basically up the score and get the revenge the same exact way that it happened with their people. And at the end of the day, Foolio was basically like, showing to them that he's gonna move around how he wants to do it and everything like that. And the dudes, they've been trying to get Foolio for a long time, man. And it was just a matter of time until they catch him at some place, until they all end up at the same place. This is why Foolio, he didn't hang around too many people like that. And if he would have been going to like the parties and anything in Jacksonville, it would have been the ops waiting for him there. So basically they knew they was gonna get Foolio. It was just until the right time, the right place, because if they did this in Jacksonville, they would get caught a lot quicker because they already got tabs on them and they already been watching them in Jacksonville. So it would be easy for them to connect the dots. So the reason why they went to Tampa to do this is because Foolio went out of town, and he thinking that a lot of people, when they think they out of town, they don't think that their ops or enemies are gonna end up following them or be coming to that same town that they're in. So because Tampa is all the way like 6 to 8 hours on the other side of Florida at the bottom, they didn't think that anyone from Jacksonville was gonna do that long drive. But little did he know, it was already people inside of Foolio's crew that he didn't know was actually pretty much leaking the info about where the party was going to be at and all that. As soon as they booked the hotel room and he got the confirmation on the email, they sent the screenshot to the ops, and that's how they knew to be backed in, waiting behind the Holiday Inn right there in the shadows and everything like that, until basically they called the hotel management and said, yeah, they throwing a party up there, you need to stop it, we can't leave, this and that. So they pretty much made it to where they try to get them to get kicked out the room so that they could come outside. And then when they came outside, they'll see is Foolio actually at the place, because they already knew Foolio was there from him posting the video in front of the room, going up the stairs and everything like that. And so now they have to watch closely, because everybody that's there that was a part of the whole thing, they're about to be getting questioned and everything like that. So a lot of people, they might end up slipping up and accidentally being too nervous when they get interrogated and give up the fact that how this whole setup even happened. Because you got to understand, the people that was even around Foolio with him and all that, they was just being lackadaisical too. They was posting the location just like that. And this is the thing, is that you have to watch whenever you go somewhere, you're not really supposed to post that location until after you already left. That way, if somebody is watching you and they are trying to follow you and everything, they think you still at that spot. But if you post when you already gone, then they're gonna show up thinking you still there. They're never gonna find you there. And so this is one of the big crucial mistakes that Foolio and his crew made, was the fact that they were so open to just sharing where they were at on their location all over Instagram, all over social media. So whatever they was doing, they thought they was basically showing it to their fans, or maybe showing it to the city, talking about, oh, they're having a good time out here and everything like that. But they're forgetting about the fact that it's still people who was hot on their trail, and that basically they've been being watched by the ops for a long time, because the ops been trying to get back at them. They still remember that they're trying to get the get back, and even the score from the last time their peoples got hit up. And so they've been waiting to catch Foolio. Foolio was basically the most wanted person, because he basically was the main guy that was doing a lot of the dissing when he did his song, and after Jada Youngeen even got hit up and everything. So once Foolio started doing the diss tracks and Youngeen Ace was responding, it pretty much put it up in the air, and it was stuck at that point to where they was always going to be in the feud, and they was going to have to catch each other in the streets, because this is what it was ending up being. And so that's what they wanted. Basically, they both didn't want to back down. They both were like, nope, we're going to keep going on this. And this is the thing about it, is that everybody got to pay attention to the fact and learn the lesson that if you keep it, they could have kept pushing their rap career. They could have kept pushing getting money and all this and putting their people on, but the main thing for them, the most important thing for them, was to get back at their enemies and get back at the ops. And so this is a sad situation, however you look at it, because this could have totally been avoided. Like, they didn't have to go at each other like that, but it was already too far. Once people started falling from both sides, it already went far, and it went too far to where now it's actually lives lost on each side. So it hit different now. It means something more to them to actually get the revenge for the lost ones. And so that's the dilemma that they always end up facing. And so at the end of the day, you have to look at it like for what it really is. This is going to be a revolving door situation to where it keeps happening. Now they're keeping eyes on people in Jacksonville going to end up retaliating for Foolio. Does Foolio have any people out there that's still going to be pushing, to get street justice for him, basically? Because now they're trying to get everybody that was on that footage to come down to the precincts, because they've identified all the people. Once they get everybody there, the stories aren't going to match up. Not everybody's going to have the same story. So it's going to be somebody who slips up, especially from the suspect side. As soon as they get one of them guys to tell on the other, is over with. And that's basically what's happening. The one guy that they say they got, they're basically making it to where he's gonna have to give up whoever paid him, whoever drove him, whoever did any of that, because they had a getaway car, they had the getaway driver and everything. So they're gonna try to get one of those people to rat on everybody else, and they're gonna end up getting the main guy who put the money out for the hit, because nobody does this for free. Nobody does this for free in 2024. The people that hit up Foolio, it wasn't their beef specifically with him. They just happen to be the palm pieces of the real person who's pretty much wanted Foolio out. And so this is how they're looking at it. They know that those guys, they don't want to have to take the full blame for it. They don't want to have to do the whole bid. So when they tell them that they're gonna have they're looking at 100-year sentence, it's going to cause them to turn around and point the finger at the person who sent them, or whoever's idea was to get Julio taken out. And so they all know that this is the next thing, is that they planned on how they was going to do it, but they never planned on how they was going to get away with it. And now that they're going to have to pretty much the whole people who's investigating this, they're going to start getting the people one by one that's involved, because they already know who the people are. They have the witnesses out there. They ended up catching the license plate on footage, on camera. So they're going to search and see who that car goes back to. Once they go to the person whose car that was, they're going to ask them, who was driving that day? Who did you give your car to? Blase, blase, so on and so forth. And then they basically going to get them to tell on the driver. The driver is going to have to fess up on who was with them. And so we're going to really see how loyal they are to each other. We're going to really see how far the street mentality really is going get you, and it looked like for them they're hitting a roadblock to where if they tell on each other, they all gonna go down. And so it was never worth them doing this in the first place. And so this is what's going on right now. Let me know what y'all think about the whole Foolio thing.